Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about another Don Bluth movie. This one isn't quite considered as magnum opus as much as Secret of NIMH is. This is a Tron Central Park, often called his weakest film and one of the worst animated films of all time as far as the harshest critics say. Is it really? Let's find out. The story. This movie might seem very familiar to people who've seen the Disney movie Enchanted. A queen whisks away an eternally happy character for fear of what people in her kingdom might say, or losing control, which is the case for both Gnorga and Marissa from Enchanted. But there, the similarities largely end, other than them both being sent into New York. This film utilizes the concept a little less effectively than Enchanted did, but I'm not going to compare it to another film from anymore. I'm just saying that if you've seen one, you pretty much have a good idea of the basic premises for the other. Stanley is a lovable troll that's sent to New York because of growing flowers, which is against the law in the Troll Kingdom. But then he's, instead of being executed, he's sent to by stoning, not thrown at, turned into, that is. But after Gnorga, the Queen of Trolls, sends him to New York, he winds up in Central Park, where he comes across two kids, Gus and Rosie. Gus is the more cynical, bratty of the two, while Rosie is a typical baby. And they have a bunch of experiences and little adventures and talk about dreams. The biggest problem with this movie is, for story, filler. There's a lot of it. There's plenty of scenes that are just cute, especially regarding the flowers, such as the old soft petal scene when Stanley's flower friends are trying to cheer up Rosie after Gus makes her cry, or a scene when one of Stanley's flowers moves a ladybug that scared Rosie for some reason. I mean, it might be showing their friendship, but still they could have done more with it. But the problem with the filler is that the movie had other good ideas that would have been more interesting to see. Stanley mentions good trolls on more than one occasion and has a whole song sequence where we've seen some good trolls in a song called Welcome to My World, and he's going to invite them all to live with him. Where are they? Are they in hiding from Gnorga? Are they being oppressed? Is there a prison that Stanley broke out of? And no, none of it's mentioned at all, which is a problem because if you're going to say something's there, you might want to mention it. Even at the end, they could have shown some good trolls coming up, but they really don't, which is a pity, really. On the villain side, for Gnorga's subplot, she's worried about the press and what they might think about the whole Stanley situation, which is confusing considering she has a stone thumb. Doesn't like a story? Stoned forever. Yeah, so I don't think it would be that much of a problem, really. Either way, the story is the weakest part of this movie, but there's other things in it that I still enjoy. The animation is probably one of the stronger aspects, along with the voice cast, without which I'll get to when we get there. There's a lot of happy animation, like both both the happy parts with the flowers and animals, some nice cheery look to it. And also the Kingdom of the Trolls is a nice gloomy look, which is also interesting to look at. And it's too bad we don't get to see more of there, but of course the movie's called Tron Central Park, so that really wouldn't work out. It's very whimsical animation. It's not Don Bluth's best, and it's more simplified and kiddie, but it's still cute enough to look at. Some parts, like the aforementioned Welcome to My World sequence, as well as the Everman song for Stanley in the movie, absolutely green. Just have some nice visuals, and a flying boat for one, or Stanley and Rosie riding on leaves with a cute song. So yeah, that's probably the best part of the movie. The characters are fairly basic, but they have good voice actors behind them to make it memorable for them. Stanley could be really annoying to some people with his happy-go-lucky attitude and love for flowers, and how, other than a couple of times when he's afraid, he's just excessively happy, some people might say, but I don't think so. And largely that's because of Dom DeLuise's great vocal performance. Dom DeLuise, for me, is one of those voice actors that just had that perfect voice that you can make any character one of the best parts of the movie. And this is far from his only Don Bluth role. I'm sure I already went about that enough for Jeremy, as well as Tiger from American Tail and Itchy from All Dogs Go to Heaven. And he makes Stanley a more likable character. And while Don Bluth himself said that he feels like there should have been more layers to Stanley, with a good voice actor and good nature, I think he's perfectly tolerable and cute for most of the movie. Gus and Rosie are just pretty generic kids. I mean, seeing Gus grow and seeing how he and Stanley sort of affect each other and help each other to realize Stanley teaches Gus about dreaming, while Gus teaches him about having to go out there and fight for your dreams in spite of fear. So, it works well. It's just the character of Gus himself is whiny and actually a real kid, but at the same time, there's not a lot that sets him apart. The best characters are Gnorga and Lort are villains for the movie. Gnorga has similarities to many Disney villains, from Ursula to the kill all subjects that annoy her idea of the Queen of Hearts. But Cloris Leachman is clearly having the time of her life playing this villain, and even though I do like layered characters like John Silver from Treasure Planet, as I said in that review, I also can't help but enjoy a villain that's just delighting in how bad they are, and Gnorga is a perfect example of that. Her whole song says how she's the Queen of Mean and has about a dozen rhymes. Okay, that's an exaggeration of how rotten she is. It's so delicious to be so vicious. I'm Gnorga, the Queen of Mean. So delightful to be so spiteful. I'm the Queen of Mean. Yeah. Plus, her stone powers are pretty scary too. I mean, we don't see it when, in the end, almost spoiled it. And this is one of the more underrated films, so I'm not going to try to spoil as much if somebody chooses to watch it. But one moment during her villain song, we see the victims of her curse blinking, implying that there is a period between the stoning and death, which is really scary to think of. And her husband also notes that their numbers are dwindling yearly, so she might not want to turn Stanley to stone. So Gnorga, it's heavenly implied, is killing so many of her own subjects that the birth rate can't keep up with her, which is a scary thought. Lort is the opposite of his wife, and he's more a closeted good troll. I've even read theories that he could be an undercover good one that's trying to get good trolls away from Gnorga, which might just explain why we don't see some of them. Maybe he's tricked Gnorg into sending a few away before, but somehow Gnorg didn't find out about them. But that's a big if. He also has a soft spot for Rosie at one point, which he quickly denies when Gnorg gives him a certain look. And again, a great voice actor, Charles Nielsen Riley, who also worked with Don Bluth for All Dogs Go to Heaven and Rockadoodle. Now, this film is very, very happy. And as much as you like or dislike happy films, that's about how much you're going to like or dislike this movie. If you want a movie that has a deep storyline or really heart-tugging bits, you're not going to get it here. You're really not. When bad things happen, it is clear that there's probably going to be a happy ending, which for kids obviously is important. Don Bluth apparently said that kids can handle anything with they're given a happy ending, but in this film it's not quite as much with the what happens beforehand, because there's plenty of light filler, which makes it feel like it's a very much happy movie with bits of danger thrown in, instead of a movie that's trying to tell a story with bits of levity, like some of the other Don Bluth movies, such as American Tail had. Now, do I recommend this movie? That's really hard to say. This is the hardest movie to say whether I recommend than any other one I've done before. First, do I like this movie? Yes. Is it a good one? Not exactly. Is it terrible? No. Is it Don Bluth's weakest? I would have to say yes. I'm less fond of Titan AE, but that's only because I didn't grow up with it. But A Troll in Central Park is excessively happy and doesn't have the deep storyline of Don Bluth's other works. However, if you have children or you grew up with this film or just want something happy as possible, this movie definitely has a lot to recommend. It has some cute songs, good animation, and a good voice cast. It's just, if you're looking for a story film, you're better off looking somewhere else. Don Bluth's 80 movies would be much better for that. Anything from Secret of NIMH to All Dogs Go to Heaven or even Anastasia. But it's still worth a try, and if you've seen some of Don Bluth's other 90 movies like Thumbelina and The Pebble and the Penguin and found them okay, then this is definitely worth a watch. Thanks again for tuning in, and let me know what movies, animated movies that is, do you think get a bit too much hate? And as always, if you have an animated film you want me to review, please talk about it in the comments. Until then, see you later.